I said, are you ready? Woo!
What's up?
Morning, sir. How's it going?
I'm great. I'm all jacked up on some coffee.
Great. I am not. I am tired, and I really wish I would have went and peed before. We were already late, and I didn't really contemplate that I should have went and peed before we got on here. But oh well. If you see the computer start shaking like this, it's because I'm about to piss my pants. So if that's what's going on, no, I'm not like losing my shit.
You don't have Parkinson's disease?
Nope. I'm going to really have to pee. It didn't hit me though until I pressed the button, and I'm like, oh, I totally should have just. Yeah, we could have started a few more minutes late, but it'll be okay. I'll be fine. I'll just keep drinking water. It'll make it better.
Yeah, just keep pushing the pee further.
Yeah. Yep. It'll just explode. It'll be okay.
That's not.
Anyway,
you know what? I've seen that happen. It's gross.
No, it's almost happened to me on a multi-time basis. I think the worst one was when me and my kid, we were on the way back from a Detroit Lions game, and it was, I forget where we were at, but we had hit this spot where I was like, oh, I'll be all right. And then I got to, I think it was like the Canby in Indiana, Canby, Indiana exit. It was like right, whatever, one of the little outside things of Indy.
So from Detroit to Canby?
No, there was like this spot in between, like where it was like, oh, I think I can make it. I'll be fine. And then by the time we got there, like I was getting off the exit ramp, like legitimately, like telling my kid, like, dude, I'm gonna piss my pants. There, like I don't know what else to do. And I would like to say that I fully made it, but I did not. I sort of pissed my pants. I sort of made it, so it wasn't like a full blown issue, but. I mean, it was more than a dribble, I feel like, but that was by far the worst I've ever had to piss in my life. And I was like, I felt like, remember when you played like The Sims and your little kids were like, that's really what I felt like trying to drive a car. And I'm like, oh, I've made a mistake. There's no exits anywhere. It was all highways. And I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. And sure enough, we didn't quite make it, but.
Yeah, that happens. That happens to the best of us. Sometimes you have to start carrying a milk jug or something, just piss in it.
Yeah. I always tried to do that, but then I was always afraid I was going to pee all over the car. So then I felt like that was a problem too.
If you get the rubber floor mats, just
well, fair point.
Get the weatherproof or WeatherTech.
Weatherproof my car.
WeatherTech floor mats. It's got the little lip so it won't dribble out, so you can cup it. And
oh, there we go.
Yeah, trust me, I've had to
the rails quickly.
Well, I had to pee, but many times before. So anyway. Let's start by thanking our sponsors. They let us do what we do by talking about wrestling and dicking off. So thank you, gold sponsors. Wabash Valley Plumbing, they lay pipe. That's our slogan. It's not theirs. U.S. Lawns of Terre Haute, they mow grass and landscape. But not mow your landscape. They landscape too. ML Productions, they make movies. Not those kind of movies, family friendly. Blue Anchor Roofing and Restoration. They fix stuff, roofing and restoration type work. Yep. Wabash Valley Adult Teen Challenge, meeting you at the crossroads of addiction. RJ's Formal Wear. They have sweet suits. Go hit up Rick for all your wedding and prom needs or any other formal occasion. Peak Performance Gym. No peak, no results. Kind of butchered that one, but I'm all jacked up. Stitch Embroidered Apparel. They embroider stuff, and they do other stuff. Pappy's Barbecue. Meat. Eat. Repeat. They have good meat. Nobody beats their meat. Thank you, both sponsors. Taste the meat, not the heat. Oh, that's Hank Hill Propane. Anyway, so it's been a busy week in wrestling, according to what's going on. Hi, Alan. Alan said hi.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
SmackDown. They had 4 matches in like a 3-hour show. Shocker.
I feel like we're never home on Fridays, so I don't
Well,
ever
no.
get a chance to watch it.
Like having a television show on a Friday night or Saturday night is probably the worst time, unless like you have the diehards, of course, absolutely, they'll stick around. But like when you got shit to do, you're gonna go do the shit you got to do instead of. And there's TiVo and DVR, and people might still tape things. I don't know.
I just always forget about it.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's to me, growing up, we never watched SmackDown. It was always on like the alternate channels, and it's like Raw was always on USA, but then SmackDown would go from Tuesday to Thursday to Friday to Tuesday to Thursday to Friday, and it's like, okay, well, I can't watch it on the HGTV channel because I don't have it. I have Prime Star 97. Come on now. So
mine's always just if I'm home, I'll watch it. Like if I'm just there, and because the kids like watching it and hanging out. So if we're home, but like we have practices and other stuff going on, so it's hard to just sit down and watch all of it. So you kind of have to watch when you can, follow along on X or Instagram or whatever, and then look up the rest of it online.
I mean, like I may go back and watch this. There, Cody Rhodes faced Solo Sikoa in a steel cage match for the undisputed title, and I'm like, that sounds like a good match. But Cody retained, of course.
Yeah.
But looks like Roman Reigns made his return, saved Rhodes and confronted Jacob Fatu. So we're going to see a tag match.
I would assume so. Yep, you're going to see him tag before he inevitably turns and goes.
My question is, how does Seth Rollins feel about that? This dude put his body on the line to take out Roman and team up with Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes like, sorry, thanks for your help, Seth. You're going back here. Roman, you're the man.
Honestly, I think what they're going to do is they're going to set up for Rock Roman next year. I think that's going to inevitably be the plan, but then you add Cena to the equation. But they could also, couldn't they technically, or does that new title have its own lineage? Or could they technically give that to Cena as a 17th?
No, it'll be title? So it's based off the WWE work, like that one. It's based off that arc, I believe. And then, but even at that, if Cena would win the World Heavyweight or even the NXT, that's considered a world title now. So it would go add on to his numbers.
Okay, so that would technically, so they could do either or then if they wanted to give them that title, like have Cena take it from Gunther eventually.
Or curveball, he goes to TNA and wins their title.
Ooh, interesting.
I don't know. Like
I can't imagine that's what he's going to want to do for his last run. And Raw's moving to Netflix. He's for sure going to be on Raw. He's going to come on and talk all kinds of shit.
But would that not elevate TNA to that level status? And then you've got this mega superstar, like the modern day Hulk Hogan, like later day Hulk Hogan.
It would be cool. I just don't see him doing it.
No, I don't
see him. I don't see Cena going on his last run with TNA. It'd be awesome. You're right. It would blow up everything. I can't see him taking his last run. And
I just look at it as like, all right, I'm John Cena. I've literally done it all except go to a different company. And now that like they're not buddies, but they're business associates, it's like, let's go try this. Like, let's go. Cause I don't think he ever, outside of OVW, I don't think he's ever wrestled in a smaller venue like where TNA's at. Granted, that's why I like TNA. They play them smaller venues and then they fill them up because, and they have 5,000 people there. Instead of getting a 60,000 seat venue, they've got 5,000.
I just learned, so I saw last night, you do have to have the TNA app, but you can watch Impact on their app as well. So I think that might be the only place Impact is, but I did find out on YouTube TV, I have a TNA channel that just plays old TNA all the time. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's also on, I think it's Pluto TV has a TNA channel, and you can watch it. It's just like nonstop old NWA TNA, and then I don't know if it's NWA TNA.
Well, they got me good last night because it said TNA Impact, and I'm like, oh, sweet. And I clicked on it, and it was from, like, I'm pretty sure I watched Bully Ray have a match, and I'm like, wait, this is not now. This is
like, Bully Ray's on! And like, he looks like you. And then be like, why is New Jack here?
Yeah, he was in the corner, and I was like, oh, Bully Ray. And I'm like, oh, this has to be an old one. So I went back to the info, and then I realized, like, oh, shit, I have a whole TNA channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They are on Access TV. I do know that, like, live. Okay. So they're on the app and Access TV, so they've got that going. But they were on Spike there about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and it's like that was, like, super peak TNA. But then they've got, like, TV Guide and random stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I feel like they had an opportunity to do something similar to what AEW did. Like, and I feel like AEW has its moments where it kind of fumbles it too. But like now, I feel like with TNA, what they're doing now, they've done it smart. They partnered with WWE. They're letting them help, like, elevate them while also using their talent to elevate WWE as well. Like, it's kind of that cool partnership where it just raises all of them.
I think the downfall was they went head to head with WWE way too early in their inception. But they also, I know why they did it. They were paying these dudes mega bucks. They brought in Hulk Hogan, for God's sakes. I mean, like, he didn't come in cheap, but they had that, we want to create a Monday Night War, which is cool, but build it up until you get to that status, and then boom.
And I think that was the problem. They all tried to, they've done it a million times over where they keep trying to recreate this Monday Night War. Like, maybe go the opposite approach and realize that if you all work together, you make it must-see TV. We've talked about that a bunch, where work together, get those couple angles moving, and then it elevates everything. The whole wrestling world blows up.
Yeah. Oh, it's almost, you look back at the original USFL back in the 80s. They didn't want to compete with the NFL. The NFL controlled fall. They said, all right, we'll do spring. So that way you have football 90% of the year. And they built it up to where it was huge, and then they thought, okay, let's compete in year two and go. No, then they lost. That's why the USFL went down. But TNA's doing it right now. But they also played it smart. They're like, they're doing what ECW did a little bit back in the 90s. They partnered with them, but you didn't know about that with ECW. It was a thing. So, but they broadened it now. They're like, okay, cool. We got this going. We're going to work with the developmental guys, build up the young talent, and then hopefully slowly build up to the main
event. It's just not having that, like, I mean, you want that competitive mindset in that world because you want these people, like, putting it out there and working hard. But at the same time, you also want that, like, cohesiveness, I guess, where everybody kind of works in tandem together and is working to elevate the product. They always go with that war mentality where it's like, oh, we must defeat them. We must compete with them. No, you don't. Like, promote them, work with them. Who cares? It doesn't. There's enough room for everybody, especially in the wrestling world. You can turn shit on every night of the week. And when they're all bickering and fighting, it almost becomes annoying. They're trying to outdo themselves. And like, you could just utilize some really cool stories and make this, again, must-see TV, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. But while we're on the subject of TNA, they had their pay-per-view or premium live event, whatever it's called. Victory Road was Friday night as well. Nick Nemeth defeated Moose and to retain his world title. Let's see. Oh, JBL got involved. He, what did he do? Cleared out the system. He just showed up and kicked all their asses.
So JBL's playing like this cowboy scout kind of thing, right? Where he's like almost like the recruiter kind of thing, but he's still being in character. Yes,
because that's not his only stop this past weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a few minutes. Mike Bailey, he won the X Division title. Zachary Wentz held it for like a cup of coffee. I don't understand that one. But anyway, the Hardys won. They beat the first class of AJ Francis, Casey Navarro. Joe Hendry, he won an electric chair match against Josh Alexander.
Like, did you see that?
No, but I'm going to go back and watch.
Okay, I was going to say I'm curious what they did because I did not see that either. I did see that he now faces Frankie Kazarian and the winner takes on Nick Nemeth for the title. But I did not see it was an electric chair match. Like, did they make a chair electric and they were hitting each other with it, or did they literally have an electric chair in the ring?
I don't know. They must have. They obviously didn't watch the Halloween Havoc from like 1994 when they had a Chamber of Horror match when Abdullah the Butcher got put in an electric chair and got electrified. But it was you should check that out. It's
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Steph DeLander, she's got to have neck surgery. She broke her neck, and it's injuries happen in wrestling. So
that was she could go win a gold medal now.
Yes, with a broken freaking neck. No. Anyway, Game Changer Wrestling, the G Code was also this weekend, and it was pretty crazy. I think this is the Juggalo Championship.
That'd be World Championship to change it to the G spot.
Well, that's on HBO. You can only OnlyFans or something. I don't know. Masa Slamovich defended her title against Man Like DeRace. I've never heard of that. I just saw Juggalo The Juggalos, which is the Insane Clown
Juggalos got
Posse
your
promotion.
attention.
Yeah. Well, so the Insane Clown Posse have their own promotion.
Oh,
So,
what's it
JCW.
called? Is it ICP Wrestling?
No, it's JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Oh, I bet that's fascinating to go to.
And that was
Where's
their
that
world
at?
champion. I have no idea.
We should find out and we should go visit. That would be fascinating.
It's scary. It's
It
scary.
would be
Did you,
scary, yeah.
did you know Scott Hall was a member of the Juggalo World Order one time?
We could go undercover as juggalos. You just have to like paint your face and stuff. We could just go undercover and pretend like we know what we're doing.
We could. Zilla Fatu defeated Gringo Loco. And then Marcus Mathers. This is a name, my wrestling nerddom. He appeared in HCW way back in the beginning of HCW. He lost, though.
Did you say Marshall Mathers? Like Eminem?
Marcus Mathers.
Marcus Mathers.
The other Eminem. He was in a fatal four-way and lost. But then Joey Janela faced Danhausen.
Oh.
Very nice. Very evil. Danhausen lost.
Is Danhausen not in AEW anymore? I feel like I haven't seen him for a long time.
He's probably still on the roster because they got like 12,000.
Oh, I forgot they had like everyone in the wrestling world on the roster now. So
yes, they have a global fleet. And then, so speaking of the Insane Clown Posse, Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse teamed up with Too Tough Tony, and they defeated High Seas. And then Megan Bain, Effie, and the One Called Manders defeated Deathmatch Royalty, which was Matt Cardona's team of him, Mance Warner, and Broski. But then MLW, Major League Wrestling. I don't know if you check that out. They usually
no.
They're on YouTube. They used to do like a weekly show or a bi-weekly show or something. That's where Matt Riddle wrestles.
Yeah,
and that was where JBL showed up again this weekend.
What happened with him? Why is he so like? I feel like he's been like blackballed.
I think he failed a drug test.
That's it.
Well, I don't remember why, but he's also like, I don't think he puts up with much BS either, and because he didn't back down from Goldberg after he made comments about him. I think he made comments about somebody else.
Okay.
And but I mean, he's doing all right. I mean, he's in MLW. He's in New Japan. I mean, he's kind of doing the Matt Cardona thing now.
Yeah.
And
I just saw one of those headlines that said Tony Khan said he wasn't interested in him or whatever. So I was curious what the hang up there was. I think he may have gotten in some like he had like a legal scandal there for a little bit where he had like an ex claiming some stuff or something.
Yes, I think there was a little bit of issues in the marital department and some things like that. I don't want to say keywords or anything, but because I don't want to. Somebody could record this and be like, he said this. No, I didn't.
Booted off the social media sites left and right.
But I tell you what, if Matt Riddle's in New Japan for a full year, he'll be on AEW because Tony Khan likes those.
We got to talk to him for a few minutes. He seems like a very nice fella.
Seems down to earth. He's just tired. He wanted to go to bed, but he couldn't because he had a 5 a.m. flight that morning.
We were on the way to White Castle.
We were on the way to White Castle because we were ready to go home and eat bad food.
That was a long weekend. That was fun.
That was.
And we're going to be at the Expo again this year. Come look for the diner table at the Expo.
Yes, the diner at the Squirt Circle Expo.
Oh, yeah, the Squirt Circle Expo.
Squared. It's squared just so anybody's like, we're not going to the AVNs or anything.
Apparently, when we say Squared Circle Expo on the captions, it says Squirt Circle Expo.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
now, hopefully, it's like doing it both every time I say it, which would be hilarious.
Squared. Squirt squared.
Squirt.
Yeah. There was a tag match. The Andersons, C.W. Anderson and Brock Anderson, faced the Boami Fight Club, and that's where JBL showed up, and he even got involved and attacked Mr. Thomas from the Fight Club.
I think that's a cool idea. Like, same thing. Like, you're raising all of them because people are just showing up, but you're creating stories within these stories, and you kind of make this interwebbing world that makes it to where even if it's not necessarily your show, the clips are going wild, but then people are paying attention to your show because they're like, well, shit, who may show up this week? Or people are wanting to go to these indie shows, it just makes sense to like raise the whole wrestling world.
Yeah. And then like JBL shows up like a modern day Walker, Texas Ranger with his cowboy hat, trench coats, and whip ass and leaves like, in the eyes of the Ranger are upon you.
How cool would it be too if like at one of these not necessarily huge indie shows, but a bigger time that they know they have connections with, that like there's somebody that they're scouting. Like say, we'll put out a top tier talent like our champion Ashton Adonis.
Top tier.
Say like Triple H knows that he wants to offer him a contract, and instead of like doing it behind the scenes, Triple H shows up at an indie promotion and comes out to the ring and gives him a contract to NXT or whatever it is. Like, how cool would that be? And then that would go nuts, and then people would be like, "Oh shit!" Like, okay, and then but then you have people investing in these indie shows too, where it's like, "Oh hey, anything can happen anywhere in the wrestling world now."
Yes, exactly, and that actually happened, I think, in Ring of Honor mid 2000s. So the controversial CM Punk, when he was with Ring of Honor, I think, don't quote me, signed his WWE contract in the middle of the Ring of Honor ring. And like, I think he won the title or was doing, it was a big moment. And he's like, I'm out.
Yeah. But like, so it's similar to like, you see those videos where like athletes or whatever, where they get the call up to the major leagues. Mm-hmm. They get told that they made the team during preseason, whatever it is. Like, you see those cool videos of this person, like, having that moment, realizing they've made one of their dreams come true. Like, that's a cool, and you would get such a cool video or reaction, all of the above, because people would not be expecting that. Like, Triple H to just show up on OVW, like, just out of nowhere. Like, it would be very different. Like, that would just, it would be really cool.
Oh, absolutely. Also, and that's the thing is, like, anytime, anywhere, almost like the sports side of sports. You know, like, hey, you're going to go play for the Braves tomorrow. I'll be ready. Okay. What?
Like, then it makes, too, these indie promotions, like these kids that are busting their ass to make this dream come true. Like, it gives that tangible thing where you feel that imposter syndrome or whatever, where it makes them not want to do it, where then you see somebody close to you get that offer, like at something that you've been to, and it's like, oh, hey, this is possible for me too. This is awesome. So then you also build that indie community where you're pulling these people out of the middle of nowhere that have this love and passion for wrestling, like us in commentary.
Exactly. There was one last thing in MLW this weekend, the Opera Cup finals. So the Opera Cup, that was a little brief history that I'll probably butcher. Stu Hart, the family of Stu Hart, he won the Opera Cup back in when God was a boy, and their families held it, and MLW's been doing this thing, and it's a pretty good sized trophy. But Mystico, the former Sin Cara, he defeated Kenta, who was Hideo Itami, I think, in NXT. So Mystico is your 2024 Opera Cup winner. So
sweet,
congratulations. Yeah, that's just me going random. I have a lot of lists.
Oh, I'm gonna butcher their names.
It's okay.
I think it was it the Lucha Brothers? They got
the Lucha Brothers just signed with WWE. Yes, I think
the Motor City Machine Guns did too a while back.
They are going to NXT.
Okay, I knew it was a couple months ago. I think they haven't. I don't know if they've debuted or not, but I think they got contracts as well. So
yeah,
that's cool.
The word on the street, I think, is Motor City Machine Guns are going to be like the face of the NXT tag division, and really, I think maybe more as a mentor, like a Legends contract. You know what I mean? Like we're here to sign you as a developmental guy, like to help develop the future. Almost like Juwan Howard being on the Miami Heat for 45 years.
Isn't he wrestling Sam Knight this week? Or
that's Juwan Thomas.
Oh, okay, my bad. I don't get that stuff.
And then moving over to Raw, you watched it. I didn't. But
so my favorite part was Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. Their promo was awesome. Like, I think I made a comment about Braun Breaker not talking a whole lot a week or two ago. And boy, did they talk. And it was real. But, like, it felt real. They were going back and forth. And, like, basically, like, Jey hit him with, like, that he was going to dog walk him. And, like, it was a cool promo back and forth. It didn't feel scripted. It just felt like they went out there and were like, hey, we're just going to have fun and talk some shit. And that was pretty much what happened. But that was my favorite part of Raw.
What was your least favorite
episode? Huh?
What was your least favorite?
I don't know. It's not really that they're my least favorite. I think I'm just over it. Like, there's story there, but it's getting to that point where, again, every time you like walk through, because it becomes background noise. I'm glad they're going back to the 2-hour mark, because the 3 hours is tough to just sit and watch. Like, my brain and my body's like, no, we're gonna go do things. So then I wander around, and then I'm back there, then I'm sitting, then I'm sipping through emails, or I'm looking at Twitter or whatever I'm doing. Like, so I'm kind of watching, kind of not. But I swear every time I look up, it's the Judgment Day of some sort. It's the new Judgment Day or old Judgment Day. Either way, you get like, I feel like they're in most segments in every match. It gets aggressive.
It can. It's almost like the old NWO was everywhere, but there's like 4 people. I don't get it.
And I also get it because they're gearing up for, like, they have the Rumble coming up, they have the move to Netflix coming up. So you're trying to stockpile all these cool stories. So my guess is behind the scenes they're working diligently to start dropping some really big things coming up. They're just kind of utilizing this to tie up the loose ends and kind of get them through this time. But I feel like, because don't we have like Survivor Series coming up?
Yeah, it's coming up. It'll be in November. So
is it overseas?
I have no idea. I haven't looked that far.
I saw that it was overseas. Maybe I'm wrong.
There might be.
Feel like
it is
when they did like the Berlin one, and then if they have another one overseas, I also feel like they do that sometimes too, where they kind of mail it in because it's not a like state pay-per-view, so they're not like really going super. I mean, like, they kind of did that with like the Saudi stuff, where they just throw there's not really the storylines. Like, it almost becomes a giant house show more than it is where it's like, all right, nothing. Like, they've done better of switching it up, where I feel like things do happen and they change stuff, but there for a while it was kind of like that as well. But it almost seems like they've hit that point where they're just working towards the Rumble, they're working towards the move to Netflix, so they're kind of in that, like, obviously past the dog days of summer, you're just kind of hitting that lull.
Well, they've got to do something, because they're going to have a War Games at Survivor Series. Okay, so is it going to be the Bloodline War Games or the Judgment Day War Games for the men's side?
It's going to be, my guess is it's going to be Jimmy and Jay, Roman and Cody taking on the new Bloodline.
Could be.
Is what they're going to push it to, I would assume.
I mean, that's probably what's going to make the most money, I would think,
It'll be them, like, collecting back Jimmy and Jay, and that'll be kind of the story of them trying to get them on the same page and getting them back cohesive, and then they can turn Roman into this face Bloodline character, if that makes sense, knowing that Rock's going to inevitably come back and get booed out of the building again.
Yeah, that very well could happen. What I'm guessing the Rock will probably be the leader with Solo, Fatu, and Tonga.
I mean, it'd be smart to do it, because that's kind of what the general consensus on social media was that when he comes back, it was not going to go well. So why not make him the leader of the new Bloodline? Like, he's been like, and basically, like, he comes in and Solo puts the pepper necklace on the chili pepper necklace on his neck and kind of anoints him the tribal chief, and then there's this struggle.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that's what's happening.
Makes sense. That'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be a fun, like, couple months of TV to watch.
Oh, absolutely. There was a big match on Monday. I don't know if you saw it. Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman battle the Behemoths.
No, I saw a promo with Braun and The Miz where he told The Miz that he was not a monster enough to take on Bronson Reed, but I did not watch the match. I believe that was one of the times that I had checked out and I had wandered off and did something different.
From what I read, it sounded like it was just, it was a no contest, but they broke so much shit. That's
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Those are always fun.
Oh, I love chaotic matches like that.
Yep. I think it's like a variety show to an extent. Like, you kind of need all the different elements. You need a little bit of comedy. You need a little bit of, did you mean to put a comment up there?
Yeah, I want to see if you.
I'm not touching anything. So it was not me. I'm not even on the thing.
Okay.
No, I was just watching it. I was like, what the hell is he putting comments up there?
Well, Harold just spitting facts right now. The coolest dude.
Harold. So. We appreciate it.
Damian Priest versus Dominic Mysterio. Did you catch that one?
Yeah. It was it was a good match. It wasn't anything. Again, it's just my own, like, being overseeing them in constant segments. Like, it's them, the LWO, so it's Terror Twins, the Judgment Day, the LWO, and I feel like they just take over half, if not more, of the segments, and it's like, okay, like it's not that they put on bad stuff or it's like not entertaining. It just, I wish there were more like different things going on. Like you almost want it to be like the old school, like the Days of Our Lives, where there's like 75 different stories and angles going on. It's like it's a soap opera where you beat the shit out of each other.
There you go. I like that. I tuned into NXT partially a little bit. I was really excited. Hammerstone was back on NXT. He wrestled Tony D'Angelo, but it was kind of a bummer because Hammerstone won by count out because D'Angelo just walked out.
Oh, I did watch that. When we got home from practice, my kid asked if wrestling was on, and I said, yes, actually there is. So I did watch that one.
That was probably the match I was looking forward to the most. CM Punk did a promo. I didn't watch it because it was CM Punk.
You and your hatred towards CM Punk.
It's not big. Just not a good wrestler, just not my cup of tea. Contract signing with Ethan Page and Trick Williams. I am kind of looking forward to that match. It's on October 1st. Cool. That'd be on their premiere show of CW, which also I saw on CW, their premiere show. Randy Orton will be on there.
Yeah, he challenged
Javon Evans.
Yep.
I know his name is Javon. I don't know much.
But I think WWE's being very, very smart with that. They're realizing that they raise the ratings by making these shows. Like, obviously, you know that it's TNA, NXT. They're kind of those like AA, AAA. So I feel like OVW is almost like the single A. TNA is like the AA. NXT is the AAA. And then you go into the big leagues. Like, they've kind of developed a baseball system of bringing people up where you kind of start in OVW to learn. Then they develop into TNA, and then they go into NXT, or they start working from TNA to the main roster. TNA and NXT might be kind of cohesive, I guess.
Yeah. The other show on Tuesday night, NWA Power. That was a good. I really enjoyed that show. They went back to the territories. They had 4 matches, and the NWA Exodus Pro Midwest Heavyweight title was up for grabs. The Women's World Tag Team titles. The NWA Crossfire Championship, which champion Juventud Guerrera. Oh, that guy's still going around. And then they had the tag match of NWA JCP Southeastern Tag Team Championships. Oh, okay. It was an old school field. So they were in a high school gym, and it was just whenever they walked out, it kind of had the 80s look to it on the television screen. So it was just cool. I for some reason I like the smaller venues. I like you're close. Yeah. So it was a pretty good show overall. Juventud, it ended up in a no contest. Zion he refused to break a submission hold. So Juventud still the Crossfire Championship. So now I found out there's 4 wrestling territories in NWA. Oh. Crossfire, JCP, NWA, Exodus Pro, and then there's another one that I don't know. Yeah.
So they have like their own little sub territories amongst their territory.
Yes, and then they all go up to the Power Show, and then they have their pay-per-views or PLEs, whatever they're called.
Kind of like a big wrestling pyramid scheme, if you think about it.
Absolutely. I don't know it's a scheme. It's called pyramid.
It's just a pyramid. Yeah, it's a pyramid.
It might be a scheme. I don't know. I'm not there.
So. Going on.
TNA looked pretty good too. Matt Cardona. What did he do? Oh, Rhino beat Matt Cardona by DQ. PCO showed up after the match, tried to go after Cardona. I like Matt Cardona as being the indie god or whatever his nickname is. He just shows up.
Left and went from this like kind of silly character in WWE where I don't feel like it was ever taken seriously. Like he was just this kind of over the top. And then he went on to the indies and started being himself and just did his thing as himself. I don't feel like he's like it made it easy for him, and he's created this whole new like persona for it, and it's clearly working.
Oh yeah, no, he's got different styles. So when he's the indie god, he looks like Indiana Jones. When he goes to death matches, he looks like he calls himself the death match king. He looks like Randy Savage when he was the Macho King. So he's just got different gimmicks. But that's what I saw. I don't know if it was TikTok. It was a short video I watched about how that whole internet championship was like a joke title. He created it was like he went to Walmart and created this bullshit title and was just cutting promos. And then finally they created him a title in WWE. And then once he left, he recreated himself. And that, I mean, just he's made himself a huge star after his WWE career just by utilizing his internet skills and social media skills or whatever skills those are. I don't know, but it's pretty impressive.
Himself too. Like I assume that was the character they gave him in WWE, and it just wasn't him. He probably wasn't like super interested in it, so then it didn't work. But I think that's for most of wrestling. If you can find that, like you and your personality, and just ramp that damn thing up and figure out how you can make it into your character or into your persona, then you're just having fun with it, and it doesn't feel like you're acting. I'm guessing that's why people have trouble with promos too, when you're not being yourself and you're not like just speaking the way you want to speak and how you want to speak it. It becomes very difficult. Obviously there's a lot of like the acting portions and the facial expressions and the tones and all of that stuff as well that you have to learn. But I think that just starting with being yourself and finding out what you like is probably pretty damn important in that world.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, I know sometimes the management, they make you play a character for the business, but like, I think I've heard it several times through documentaries and stuff. The best characters are extensions of yourself. So it's just you cranked up. And that's what I feel like is the best. But sometimes when the boss wants something, all right, I guess we'll do it. Like I've heard Undertaker, I really need to listen to his podcast more, but he was talking about these gimmicks Vince would make him do. And he was like, okay. And then finally he'd do them for a little bit, and then they'd just kind of slowly go away.
Yeah.
All right, avoided that missile. And just,
Well,
but the Undertaker,
the real shit that sticks. That's the stuff that always works, is the realness. If they can find those real life animosities, the real life stories, that's where you blur those lines and people are like, oh shit, do they really not like each other? Like, because I mean, at this point, people know what the gist is. People know. So you kind of have to do what they did with The Rock and Roman and Cody, where there was definitely some realism there. You don't know necessarily what's true and what's not, but you also know that there's some realism there where somebody did something that some people didn't like, and it created what they turned it into.
Right. And that's the thing, is just be real, have it real. Like real's cool. Like I will say the 80s cartoonish stuff, I thought that was hilarious, but also children. So it's just,
but I feel like the way it's evolved, like it all had its time and place for wrestling, where when it started, it was this like larger than life, over the top thing. Then it turned into this like in your face, aggressive, like wild circus show. And then it went to like uber athletic and the spot craze. And then now it's kind of hopefully blending into a more like mixture of both, where it's that blend of all of the above, where you find an angle for everything, where you can incorporate parts of the Attitude Era, parts of the 80s, parts of the comedy stuff, whatever it is, there's a spot for everything. But then you create this like big ass variety show and you're just consistently entertained, I guess.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, that's what I've always tried to find watching. For those who don't know, I'm a nerd, and I started back when the WWE Network came out, 10 years ago. I started at Starrcade 1983, and I've slowly watched all the pay-per-views and then the weekly television shows. I think I'm in 98 now. It's taken a long time. But I've tried to like learn and see, even when they said the New Generation era sucked, it was still entertaining. It was a bad, it was everything's cyclical, and it was just on the downside of the cycle. But I thought it was good. And it's just, you take something from every little piece and just mold it into your own. I think it's just going to be awesome.
Absolutely. It'd be fun too. But hopefully that's where they're going with it.
Oh, and my spreadsheets, my wife says. Yes, I have spreadsheets on wrestling. Leave me alone.
That's because you're passionate about it. It helps us a lot in commentary.
It does help a lot in commentary, having the notes. So
your spreadsheets come in handy all the time. They are very, very, very necessary for our commentary.
Yeah, they're very, very necessary, because you got to have notes. You got to know who you're talking about, especially when it's going on the World Wide Web.
Yep.
If it was just for me and your entertainment, I may not go as deep. I don't know. I probably would, because that's just me. But
you take it serious, and you like we love what we're doing when we get to do the commentary. So we love, like, that's like one of your biggest passions, and then that's just something that like creates that calmness for you where you have the information in front of us. So if there is something like there's a slow spot or there's something going on, you can immediately go to telling me a story about this person. And there's a few of them that give us tons of information, and it's awesome. Like, because then you just have this full story to tell during it. Like, I think when we commentate for our title, it's the easiest to commentate because there's so much information. We're invested in the story. So then that commentary comes into play because not only are we talking about what's in front of us, but we also have this backstory of things where we've talked to them on our show where we're doing the interviews or whatever. It's things that we've seen, matches they've had. So then we have that element of the story too. And obviously, I don't know, we're only 9 months into it, but I feel like we do a pretty good job with it.
We do a great job. We evolve, but because we also know, like, we're 9 months in, we don't know it all, and even 10 years down the road, we still may not know it all. Like you're ever evolving, you keep learning. Exactly. You always got to keep learning. If you stop learning, you die. That's the way I look at things, you know. And even just try to learn something every day, but hone your craft. I mean, shit, we commentate video games like that. We're trying to practice as much as we can.
That was literally one of the reasons we started doing that, was because we were like, ooh, hey, we can just practice our commentary while also playing the video game stuff. So it's a double-edged sword where we get to kind of have fun, do our thing, but we're also staying in that world of continuing to practice our craft and get better at it. Because, like, I realize things like just the quality of our commentary, like the sound of it and everything. Like, we've learned a lot over the course of the 9 months, or just like understanding the flow back and forth. Like, it takes a while to develop that where you want to keep talking. So like beforehand, we would step on each other way more, and you're going to, just based off of what you're doing. Like, there's going to be moments that you step on each other, but I feel like it doesn't happen near as often now, or like you catch yourself using the same words over and over again. But like, we don't have someone in our ear telling us what to talk about. We're just going completely off of reaction alone, and
we are literally bullshitting at this point, you know, like
for 3 hours straight.
We have some keynotes in front of us, and then after that, we're just calling whatever we see in the ring with bullshit attached. Yeah. So it's like we're doing the best we can with the hand we're dealt, you know.
Yeah. So and obviously, like, that's kind of how the indie wrestling is going to be. Is there, like, that's what you're doing. You're just kind of telling the story of what you know and what's in front of you. So with what you do with the notes and the spreadsheets, it helps a lot because you bring a lot of information literally to the table.
We try. With us talking about independence, let's pivot to there. There's a big weekend of wrestling coming up. Saturday, I guess that's tomorrow. All Vermilion Wrestling 21 Over the Top will be going on in Oakwood, Illinois at the Exit 210 Saloon. Some matches that have been announced. Clayton Clark versus Limbo. I don't know if I should like Clayton Clark there. Cecil Cerveza versus Cameron Cross. I'm not a big fan of Clayton Clark, just to clarify.
What's wrong with the old sheriff of Shithead City?
Yeah. The Cobra, that's our buddy, versus Excalibur.
I think that might be the last one I have of these.
Okay. The All Vermilion Wrestling Heavyweight Championship match. Jimmy Carrot takes on Zay Gates. Jake Oman will be facing Elijah Eros.
Well, that was just announced, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've just announced a couple more matches. There's a fatal four-way. Rico Jones versus Logan Myers versus Tyler Scott versus Kendall Fire. Oh. And then the tag team championships, We Are Us versus the War Beasts. So David Light on one side, he's with We Are Us, and then Hidari the Man Beast is on War Beast. And then still to be announced, Jackson Morgan, the Exit 210 champion, he'll be in action. And then there's also the 21 Over the Top Rumble. There's been entrants already announced. Mike Noble, Kenneth James, Elijah Eros, Phoenix, Chris Gates, Zach Nova, Stetson Ace Winners, Ty Ice, Jared Savage, Carter Kaufman. And then Timmy Jackson and Phil Scott were just announced. But also the Diner Podcast champion, Ashton Adonis, will be in the Rumble.
Sweet.
It's finalized.
When you said Jared, I was like, I'm entering another Rumble? I did not know this.
It's the masked guy that's creepy as balls.
That's good, because I was like slightly paying attention, slightly looking at the graphics, and then you said that, and I kind of did the double take of like, wait, what? Like, I don't know that I'm
Just so you know, there was an executive decision made since you spent $3,500. Your ass is in a rumble.
Hey, you know what? Ashton's going to enjoy his vacation, and he's going to come back refreshed, ready to take on whatever the next challenge is for his title.
Well, he better be refreshed.
I think it was a great investment.
He's got a busy weekend.
I'm not about it even in the slightest.
Yeah, well, he has a busy weekend. Saturday, he's wrestling. Sunday, he has to go to Pax Verum up in LaPel, Indiana. He will be facing the veteran Jack Vaughn. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. So you know what? I'll say it. He probably deserves a vacation after that match because
I agree. Do you want to go through the rest of what he's doing this weekend? Because he's got a big weekend ahead of him.
That's all I know.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, he's already had that.
They've
already done that last
weekend. Man,
he's done.
I need to delete some of these graphics. But I mean, going against Jack Vaughn will be enough. He'll go out there, do his thing, and then he gets to know he enjoys a wonderful vacation next weekend, and he doesn't have to deal with Sam.
The rest of the card for White River Wrestling looks pretty intense.
Question: if I send Juwan on a vacation, does that mean Sam doesn't come? Like
Sam's coming regardless. Sam's coming regardless.
But if he doesn't have a match, he could just stay home and enjoy his night. And
I'm betting if you send Juwan on a vacation, he's going to have a match with you.
Okay, well maybe I will. Yeah. That might be for the best, though. Maybe I can put him out of his misery.
I'm just letting you know. So,
you never know.
But some other matches coming up for White River. We have, I don't know if you have graphics or not. Isaiah Moore versus the Pax Verum show.
I do.
Okay. We got Logan Myers taking on Ace Perry. That'll be a great one. Isaiah Moore takes on Dalton McKenzie. Twist and Flip versus Carter Kaufman and Elijah Arrows.
And I believe I have one more.
And then the WRW Championship match, Jake Oman versus Aaron Williams. And there are two more matches that were announced later. Damie Ho versus Savion Truitt. Big time Savion, Jared's best friend. And then I didn't say Jared. I just said Jared. It's Jared West's best friend, not you.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. We even have the same real name.
I know. And then you do have a doppelganger. And then Book Hemingway will take on Lord Crew. Oh, and it's just been announced. Kyle Hall, Mr. H has said if you send Juwan on a vacation, you got to wrestle.
Oh.
I don't know. He just said, I'm paraphrasing here at this point.
That's tempting.
Then
I think I'd be okay.
Yeah. Then next Saturday, Singleton Wrestling Fall Fury. Oh. We have Carter Kaufman takes on Leela Feist. Elijah Arrows takes on Austin Ryan. Aaron Atlas takes on Logan Myers. Hio del Appalachia versus Book Hemingway.
I didn't even want to give it the time, so you could announce another match, but it wasn't working.
Sam Knight will not be facing Dylan Cole. Sam Knight will face Jawan Thomas.
Who cares?
I do. Jake Oman defends his heavyweight championship against the veteran Jack Vaughn. That is the match of the night, in my opinion. My opinion does not matter, but in my opinion, that is the best match on the card. So definitely get your tickets. And I do have an announcement to make.
What? That our Diner Podcast champion will not be there because he is going to be rejuvenating and relaxing on his wonderful, wonderful vacation as a gift from the Diner for winning our championship and taking it away from Sam.
Well, I just let you make that announcement. No, our friends at Pappy's Barbecue they purchased some tickets, and this is a reward for our fans. So I'm going to post this graphic after the show. I know you can't see it worth a damn. It's going to post that with a couple steps to enter, and there will be 4 front row tickets, 4 GA tickets.
That's awesome.
That will be rewarded to some lucky people. So I'm trying to not use the keywords to get a shadow banned. So got to dance in the line. But so pay attention for the graphic that will pop up after the show. And then there's 2 more events coming up. October 25th, Singleton Wrestling Pumpkin Smash Monster Bash will be going on at Max and Honey's. You'll get to see those fine folks in action. And then the next day, Hybrid Championship Wrestling Fighter Fright. There's been a match announced. We'll be going on to Strive 365. Ace Perry versus that piece of trash, Clayton Clark, will be battling for the HCW Championship.
That's going to be an awesome show. That's at Strive too, right? And you just say that?
Yes, it will be at Strive 365, if I'm not mistaken.
It'll be our first one commentating at Strive.
I know. It will be great. So, and that's all the things coming up the next couple of weeks on the independent scene that we talk about. So thank you guys for tuning in. But yeah, stay tuned for that graphic to pop up. Thank you again to Pappy's Barbecue for gifting those tickets.
Absolutely.
And reward our fans. So definitely get your tickets.
Yeah, look out for that graphic and share it and enter to win. Absolutely.
Thank you to everybody that tunes in, and also get your tickets for Fall Fury. It's next Saturday. Let's pack it out. Let's have some fun. I'm telling you, Jake Oman versus Jack Vaughn, you will not want to miss.
It'll be a great show.
That's right. With that, I'm out of here.
Bye.
Keep pushing.